what is the main reason for failure? You know, when we fail, it's never nice. When we don't get a transaction or something goes wrong in our life, we fail at a relationship or whatever it is, and it's not nice to fail, right? Fail tests, fail exams, fail anything. It's not nice. And I began to ask myself questions of, what is the primary reason of failing? And something that I learned from Tony Robbins is that some of us know who Tony Robbins is, and Tony says, the number one reason for failure, and that's where we see opportunity, by the way. The number reason for failure is a lack of resource. It's always a lack of resource, lack of time. Didn't have put enough time into something. Didn't put enough time into research before I went out and did it. I had a lack of money. There was a cash flow issue. I had a lack of relationships. I didn't know the right kind of people in place at that time. And there are so many resources, but that is the reason why we failed, the lack of resource. And Tony Robbins had a meeting with about 1,000 leaders. And there were CEOs of companies and every kind of industry and banks, and there were political guys there. And he asked them to stand up. He said, please will you stand up if you've ever failed? And nobody stood up. And he said, come on. He said, I have failed. We've all failed. He said, you stand up, somebody. And people started to stand up. And one gentleman that was there was Al Gore. And he said, so, Mr. Gore, tell us why you failed and what did you fail at? He said, I failed at becoming the President of the United States of America. And he said, okay, Mr. Gore, tell me, what do you think your lack of resource was? I said, well, I had a lack of Supreme Court judges supporting me. And everyone laughed. Everyone laughed. And Tony Robbins said, he said, I don't believe that is your lack of resource. He said, I believe the lack of resource, in your case, was a lack of human emotion. And, of course, I'll go had to digest that, but I spoke afterwards. And I realized that so many times that I've failed in something, and it's always a lack of resource why we fail. And so many times if I've failed because a lack of human emotion, of, you get into a career, and lucky I don't have this because I don't believe I have a job. I love every day. You can ask Shirley, I love people, and I love going to my office, and I love, it's a pleasure. But there have been things that I've got involved in my life that I've felt, you get in a career, and remember, you're all excited when you get in this career. I'm going to do this, and this is great. And then 5 years down the road, oh, wait. The emotion is not there. It becomes a job, not a career anymore. So many times we lose that thing of the emotion of something. And so many times I believe that we don't achieve what we need to achieve because of a lack of some human emotion. I want to stir you up this morning and just ask yourself, what do you think is holding you back in your life, your career, your family, whatever it is? What do you think, what resource are you lacking right now in your life to get you to where you want to get to? Because there's some resource that's always holding us back. And I believe the greatest opportunity and having an attitude of opportunity is when we can identify the resource that we lack in our lives to get us to a new level. And if we can't identify it, we will stay on the same level. And that's why a lot of people, we all stay on the same level instead of going to another level. But if we can identify the lack of resource,